thinking is a set of competencies to do with not taking things at face value, which sounds super obvious, but in fact, it's very difficult for people to overcome a lot of the heuristics and cognitive biases and mental shortcuts that lead us to be easily manipulated. And critical thinking, I guess above all, is about learning how to think twice, to practice the art of reasoning and evidence seeking, and then to question how far it is possible to trust something. And when you can't trust it, what the next steps are for remedying your uncertainty. And we're surrounded by constant, overwhelming streams of data, and critical thinking skills are really what allow us to be selective, discerning consumers of information and generators of it. And obviously at the present moment, more and more of our lives are being transplanted online and being disrupted profoundly. And I guess above all, there's this question as to, well, how well do you think when you are using information systems? How critically engaged and discerning are you as far as reasoning out what's going on behind the screen? And I think the skill set here is also what differentiates humans from algorithmic systems. Machines are fantastic at giving us answers on the basis of big data, but they're no good at coming up with questions. More than ever today, it's the quality of the questions that humans bring that will define our success or our disruption and failure. To work effectively, then you need to realize that what's good for people, cognitively speaking, is not at all the same thing as what's good for the machine systems we use and work through. Machines like constant connectivity at high speed, but people need different types and textures of time and attention in their days. We have limited mental energy. We are easily overwhelmed. And so what you need to do is think about quality. You need to batch tasks into compartments and try to allocate them your full attention. You need to prioritize rest and recuperation as well as attending. You need to try and be aware of both your own biases and the biases baked into the systems you're using. Email, for example, is an example of a fantastic communication system that can too easily become a to-do list written for you by other people. In order to use technology well, you have to be discerning. In order to add value to information systems, you have to bring that which is uniquely human, which lies in the domain of creativity, communication, empathy, and critical engagement. And I think above all, you need to be able to embrace uncertainty. On screen, it is very easy to find an answer instantly to any question. However, it is much more difficult to quantify your uncertainty, to live with it, and to make that uncertainty an impetus to exploration and understanding, rather than just something you want to close down as fast as possible because it makes you nervous. Become comfortable with discomfort, pause, focus on quality. When we think about communication online, we think about something, like what I'm doing now. I'm sitting down, I'm talking into a screen. You're watching a kind of a man sitting down looking forwards. And of course, this is quite boring, hopefully not too boring for 5 minutes or so, but it gets very old very fast all day. And I think one of the really big things to try and do is bring more and more of the human experience to your online interactions. Now, informally, people have been doing everything from quizzes, to hanging out for drinks together, to watching movies streamed together, to going for walks and so on. And I think it's possible to be really inventive and flexible about different kinds of communication. Do it while moving around, capture a room so you can get the body language. Consider doing some things audio only. Use visual props, use blackboards, use the space. The more of this kind of human embodied apparatus and emotion you can bring to communication on screen, the less stressful and exhausting it is. Just watching immovable heads all day is exhausting because we have to do so much work to empathize and turn this into meaning and understand. And so I think really you have to get away from doing what I'm doing now all the time and staring at a screen, and start to think how you can bring in as much emotional, demonstrative apparatus as possible. Vary things, mix them up, use visuals, walk around, capture rooms, hang out a bit, have some casual time. Try to think about why these things are tiring and stressful, and then put in place these small, supportive human acts of enrichment and disambiguation. That's what helps us think and be more fully human online. I think there can always be something positive in being forced to re-examine those things that have become habitual and those assumptions that you just took as normal without criticizing them. In a way, the idea of normality is a bit of a fiction. It's what we normally do, but it doesn't have any kind of special magical quality that means we inherently have to going on doing it. And so you can take an opportunity like this, terrible though many things are, to ask what is really necessary, what is really meaningful and effective, which habits and practices don't I need going forwards, what could I do better or differently. And I guess globally this is a huge moment of introspection for people. Very radical change is very obviously possible very fast. This is a moment of danger and opportunity. And I guess in order to turn it into opportunity as far as possible, A, you have to get through it and look after yourself and cut yourself a bit of slack. But B, you can say, well, going forward, what do I want my new normal to look like? What actually matters? What actually works? What old habits don't I need to restart perhaps ever again?